Hello shooters, welcome to Tie Iron Channel. Today's episode of Man vs. Handgun is the SAR Arms B6P.
Man versus Gun.
9mm polymer framed CZ75 copy kind of thing. Let's see how it does on the spreadsheet. The SAR B6P, this is a compact polymer frame CZ75 clone. Let's see how much this puppy weighs. It tips the scales with an empty magazine at 1 pound 9 ounces, so 25 ounces. Our standard is 1 pound 11 ounces, so it's quite a bit lighter than the Glock. Of course, it's compact. It should be, but not all compacts weigh a lot less than the big ones. So the SAR B6P plus 5 rounds equals an unloaded Glock. Okay, the width, the widest part is the slide stop, and it's kind of hard to measure in the gun. I took the slide stop out of the gun, and it measures 1.43 inches wide. It is wide for a handgun, particularly of this size. Well, we're going to talk about the width here a little bit later on, because it does negatively impact the ergos of this gun. It's a decent sized service gun. It only holds, 13 rounds. For a service gun, I like to be, 17 rounds like everybody else. But this is a compact, so it's a decent, it can be used as a service size gun. But because of the width, I downgraded it a little bit on the CCW. Weight makes a great CCW gun, but the width, I downgraded it from a 5 to a 4. And it is in no way, shape, or form a pocket gun. So let's talk about the receiver. And this is where I have the issue with it. When these designers in Turkey designed this SAR B6P, for one, this name means nothing to me. I can't correlate anything, the B6P part. SAR, I get that. That's an abbreviation for the company that made it. SAR in Turkey. But the B6P, I got no idea what that means. So I'm going to have trouble remembering it. But whoever designed this handgun in Turkey, look at this shelf here. Really, really, really poor design. What I mean by that is, when I grab the gun, look at how this sharp shelf here wants to hit my thumb knuckle. And it prevents me from, I cannot activate the safety because it's pushing my thumb out. I can't get my thumb in there. I have to actually shift my grip a little bit to activate the safety. In other words, they took the fantastic ergonomics of a CZ75 and made them much worse. I have a, check this out. Here's a CZ75 clone. Look at this, easily. My hand is in the firing position, perfect position for the safety. Easily work the safety without having to move my hand. As soon as I put this plastic one in my hand, because of the thickness here, I cannot work that safety without shifting my grip. You guys out there that have super long thumbs might be able to, but then again, it might be this thing here that's causing the angle of the thumb to come out and not get a purchase on that. Just to give you an idea on the CZ75 here, the steel version, just barely over an inch. 1 inch and 6/7 thou or whatever. I measured the exact same spot on this plastic one. 1.2 inches, so it's almost a quarter of an inch. It's 200 thousandths thicker. Let's look at the difference there on the frame. I understand since they made this out of plastic, they felt they needed some strength there. But what I don't get is why they should have radiused this. Anyhow, enough of that. They hosed the frame, in my opinion. They did it's great for shooting one-handed. As soon as you bring two hands into the game, it's no fun because of that shelf. So the receiver gets downgraded to a 2 because of that design flaw there. This was obviously designed by somebody that's not a shooter, which is unfortunate. The back strap is non-adjustable. It does have that good feel of the CZ75 series, except for the dang shelf there. Side panels are not adjustable. They are what they are. This is kind of a slippery gun. There's not much going on here to grab onto. If this was going to be a primary handgun for me, I would stipple this area here to help get a better purchase, because it is kind of slippery. The trigger pull, the double action trigger pull, is just right at 10 pounds. There's a little bit of, there is some creep and there is some stacking. Single action pull is 4.5 pounds. There is some creep. Watch the creep here. There's the wall. There's some creep. There's some more creep. And it goes. Here's just in the side here. This does have positive sear engagement. That means when you pull the trigger, the hammer actually comes back farther. And that's a good thing. It makes the gun safe. If you have a firearm that has negative sear engagement, that means as you pull the trigger, the hammer minutely moves before it falls, and it minutely moves towards the firing pin. That's a bad thing. It's an unsafe condition. I'm going to pull the trigger slowly, and I think you'll be able to see, watch the hammer, you'll be able to see it come back just a little teeny bit. There, you see that? Now if I let go, you might hear this. There's a click there. I don't know if you're able to hear that or not. I'm going to do, here's the creep. Push the hammer back a smidge. If I let go, the hammer stayed there. So there's some creep in the trigger. The sear's catching on some of that creep. When I pull back just a hair, it allows the sear to get off the creep and go back to the sear notch in the hammer. A lot of 45s are this way, 1911s, unless you tune the hammer. So there is some creep in the trigger there, but it's a pretty nice 4.5 pound pull. CZ75s typically always have really nice single action pulls. Okay, enough on the trigger. The magazine well is not flared. Another design flaw on this thing from the Turkish designers. They didn't do a good job of copying the good things of modern handguns. There is no flaring whatsoever. I bought this gun used, and yeah, I did get it for a song. I got it for 200 bucks. And the magazine well, you can see, is beat up. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if somebody used that to knock something against, because I mean the magazine is tapered such that you really have to miss to mar that up. But anyway, it's marred up there, but the gun still works good. But there is no flaring on the magazine well. Okay, the magazine, it's a pretty good design. What I don't like about it is, I don't know why this is there. Yeah, it does cover up part of the frame, but it sure creates for an awfully big floor plate. And it doesn't do anything with regard to helping with a one-handed manipulation or whatever. It is what it is. The base plate is one-hand manipulation friendly. There's a big shelf there to grab onto if you have to yank that out one-handed if you have a malfunction. So surprisingly, they got that part right. And it does go in farther than what we ask it to, and that does help in insertion of the magazine. So we're good to go there. The magazine release, I like the magazine release. It's steel. The rest of the frame is plastic, but the magazine is steel. The magazine release is steel. The only beef I have is it does stick up a little bit too far. Yeah, it doesn't stick up as wide as all this stuff, but it wouldn't hurt to have it be just a little bit more recessed there. The slide catch is in a good location. It doesn't activate with my firing grip, and it is, you switch the gun over, and it is easy to hit that away or with your thumb, but it is only on one side. Lefties are hosed on that deal. The rear sight, and here's where these designers got it right. They got it right on the rear sight, because it is one-handed manipulation friendly. There's a nice big shelf there to grab onto whatever you need to, the rack, the slide, And then we already talked about the magazine base plate there. The design of the rear sight, it's okay. It's kind of narrow. I wished it was a little bit wider. That's a function of the slide though. The slide's kind of narrow. It is, you can switch them out because it is dovetailed in there. It's not part of the slide. The front sight, you can also remove that and replace that if you want to. The sight picture is not bad. It's 3 dots, which is better than some other things that are even busier. But the front sight's okay. There is no provision for a light on this gun, and there is no provision to add a red dot optic to this gun either. So let's go out the range and see how it shoots.
Once you get the safety off, this is a pleasant gun to shoot. It's accurate, low recoiling, has a good trigger pull. But I do have to actually, you have to take the gun almost out of my hand and shift my grip around to put the safety back on. Good shooter though.
Okay, shooters, my final thoughts. This thing could be a great little handgun, but the ergos on it turn me off big time. Really hard to reach the safety. Too wide up here at the top. Yeah, if you do have one of these, I would suggest you take a file to that shelf there and just file it away so it's not quite so in the way, so to speak. It is reliable, it is accurate, and they're cheap. I picked this up on the used market for $200. It does go bang, and it puts the bullets where you want them. That's the bottom line, but it sure leaves a lot to be desired. Thank you for watching. Appreciate the shares, likes, and subscribes. If any of you have one of these, or you're thinking about getting one of these, or you know somebody that's got one of these, or whatever, post the comments down below. I like reading the comments, having a conversation with you down there. And as always,
ensure that your training and your practice is preparing you for the real world, your real world, and not for the fantasy land of the shooting range.
have a nice day.